to this conversation?
Yeah. So the first question has a simple answer. The Quadrangle is a separate company that's owned by the university that operates that housing for students, some undergraduates, but mostly graduate students. And so, there are legal reasons why it's set up that way, but the university owns Quadrangle. So when you pay rent to Quadrangle, you're basically paying it to the university. And then in terms of the cuts, we have something called the Central Fiscal Unit. That's what I'm part of. That's what Sharon Stahl is part of. We reduced expenditures in the CFU by keeping the head count constant. So that means when we added more people to the Title IX operation, for example, we have fewer staff somewhere else. And, we've cut a few things. Sharon had to cut her budget. The provost's office is spending less than we were. And when we spend less, then we don't have to charge the schools as much tax to operate what we do. And then we can ask the schools for more money for financial aid. So that's the circle that I'm working to try to fix this problem, which is to spend less in the CFU, to tax the schools less, and then to get the schools to be able to pay more money into the financial aid. And it's a complicated little mechanism, but that's your name is Madeline, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another question from the audience.
I know teaching is a very important part of the university, and here most professors spend more time on research than teaching. And there's also a large number of part-time professors hired as adjuncts just to teach a couple of courses. So what is the university trying to do to improve teaching quality maybe? And how much of our money is actually spent on teaching?
You can answer that one.
And teaching quality is very, very critical. And if I can ask for all of you for an important favor, fill out the student evaluation form. If you don't tell us which classes, which professor, where the teaching is slipping, we cannot take the action. And I can tell you right now, from our personal experience, we went electronic student evaluation, and the response rate went so low, it became useless that we went back to paper-based evaluation form. In this day and age, we should not have to do it. So I urge you that help us learn more about where the quality is slipping. And this university has unquestionable commitment to teaching. The action will be taken when we get to learn. Of course, in the process, we got to give every individual, some of our faculty members, either it's a first teaching job they are taking, or they're coming from a different place where different teaching requirement, and we got to give them a chance. Sometimes the first time the class does not go well, we go and help them to improve the teaching quality. But this is something I take exceptional pride that in many of the different evaluation, our teaching quality overall at the business school is higher than most of the undergraduate business schools in the nation. But we need your help. Fill out those evaluation forms. We read every one of them, and we read every comment that you put on those evaluations.
We're going to take one more question from Twitter and then one more question from the audience. While the panel answers these, please feel free to fill out the index cards, just any responses, thoughts that you might have. We want to hear from you and get this conversation about the student voice in expenditure started. So, what effect does an unusually big freshman class like this year's have on the budget? And how does it constrain us?
We had a somewhat larger freshman class, but we're actually planning to have classes about this size in a sustained way over the next few years. Anyway, so we had to add a few more sections and things, but we were able to accommodate everybody on the South 40, and we collect more tuition when we have a large class, but it also gives us more money to get from financial aid, and it actually helps to have, on most of these things, to have the class get a little bit bigger. So, it's too early to tell. We have all kinds of surveys that will tell us whether there's a change in how you all feel about your experience based on whether this class is larger, but we won't know that for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So I think you use the keyword unusual. That when we get out of the plan part, it creates. We spend much of the summer this year trying to make sure that with influx of a greater number of students, and there were not that many greater, just about 100 more than what we planned, but you have to add more sections. Reach out to the faculty whether they take another section. If not, find the faculty at the last minute, because we are committed that the largeness should not compromise your experience while you selected Washington University about the intimate and very close-knit experience. And we are committed that no matter what the numbers are going to be, that the community that Washington University is proud of, that community is never going to be compromised.
So if WashU has a responsibility to provide full financial support for every student in the midst, and if the financial aid algorithm is intended to calculate the exact amount that every family can provide, what is WashU's responsibility to subsidize extracurricular activities? For instance, Rig Life is very, very expensive, and what is WashU's responsibility to make sure that every student has the opportunity to have their ideal WashU experience?
I don't know, what do you think?
I think that there should be, sorry, my mom is an academic administrator. I think that there should be programs available for students who want to participate in extracurricular activities, because you don't want to segregate students based on what they can afford to do. And so I think there should definitely be more funds available for students to participate in activities that are inexpensive. For instance, sports teams, free play. There are lots of clubs here that require dues, and I think you're really doing students a disservice if they're unable to participate in everything they'd be interested in.
Great point. So for study abroad, I think we do a pretty good job of helping people, from what I understand. Greek life is an interesting one. At my previous school, the fraternities and sororities raised money for themselves to provide financial assistance. So I don't know how we do it here. That's the first time I got this question. But Dean Stahl is here. She knows the answer to that.
Some of the fraternities and sororities have scholarship money, but they need guidelines. I've been asked by members to help them determine how to allocate those.
Yeah.
But I might add, since I'm speaking, that the student union has resources, and I think that it would be good for student union to consider if we as a community want to increase the number of students who come to us as program students, that maybe that could be a consideration because of the budget that student union has.
That's a fair point.
So I think that's a very important point, and as Provost mentioned, we continue to study abroad. Take for example, it's not considered as a regular part of a scholarship, but that is one of the experience we like as many of our students to have, and we are raising additional funds as additional scholarships for the study abroad type of program. But I think this is an area that I invite the students also to take a little bit more ownership. Our student union has got pretty significant budget, and if a student union start putting, making some choices, how they may support some of those activities. Just like the question that you are asking us, I think it is a question that if the entire community starts saying, okay, how do we make choices and where the fund might be most needed? I think we can create a whole different culture, but absolutely the question you asked, that the experience should not be compromised because of somebody cannot afford to pay for those costs. And it is a collective choice and a decision made by the administration and the students to come to an understanding of what are going to be those extracurricular experiences. Because how many 300 different clubs and probably 500 different activities, we have to come to some understanding of how to rank order and prioritize those.
What school, where does your mom work?
She works at the high school.
Before we conclude, I'd like to ask each of the panelists if they have any concluding thoughts, things that they want students to leave with, to please feel free to. We've only got a couple minutes left.
Well, I just want to say, those of you who care about this, who are pushing us, this is exactly what we need you to do. We need to get Tori and her colleagues to push it at the board meetings, and we need to keep having events like this. I'll keep coming and giving you truthful answers that may not be completely satisfying, but hopefully are illuminating in terms of helping you understand the issues. And student aid is one of the most complicated things that we do, so the more you learn about the mechanics of it, the better advocates you can be, and we just appreciate the energy that you bring into this. It's incredibly important for the institution in every respect.
Yes, I just want to echo what Provost Thorpe said in terms of I'd really love to be in contact with you for ideas of how to move things forward, and I look forward to talking to you. So thank you very much for being here tonight, and thank you for caring about this, because this is really important. It's important that this room is full tonight, and I'm incredibly thankful, and I think this is tremendous for our campus community, because I haven't seen Tisch Commons full very many times in my 4 years here regularly. So this is, so thank you for being here tonight. It means a lot for your presence at this institution.
I also want to echo, thank you all for being here as well, and also for inviting me again. I was honored to be a part of this. And there's two things that I want to say. One is to think outside the box. You have got to think. You have to go beyond the norm. If not, then we become clones. And as I ended up emailing the chapter president for the Phi Alpha Theta History Honor Society, I'm over now. Woo, I want to pump it up because a lot of people don't know about it, and we're about to change the game. But that said, I told him, I'm not trying to nurture clones. I'm trying to nurture leaders and compassionate leaders. So when we think outside the box and we begin to push back to say, the past didn't work and we're not happy about it, we can't even fully live in the future. We have got to be in this present moment. In this present moment right now, we're in this room, but even some of us aren't even willing to take some of the classes that push us in a whole other way to actually have to even deal with race. So we also need to look internal about who is here, what classes are available that we are choosing to say, that's not going to get me a job. So we have to think more deeply.
Keep doing, don't just stop. You show up this evening and make sure that you show up next time. And have the voice, because it is you collectively that are going to ask the question and make us realize whether we are on the right path or not, whether we are able to serve you as in your current form, but also as this school, the maintaining the long-term growth and the trajectory of this school. And this is just fantastic. To see all of you being here, staying. I didn't see anybody get up and leave throughout this evening. And then the questions that you have asked. This is a community, and I'm very proud of each and every one of you. So keep this coming.
We want this to be the start of a conversation, not the end, so please keep on reaching out to us. Talk to everyone of the panelists, and I think Ben has a few final words.
Well, let's just thank Noel because he's really been doing a lot on this. And he's good. Noel's going to make a great financial aid officer if that's what he wants to do.
I also want to thank Noel as well as all of WooFuse. You guys have been amazing partners. I just want to plug both these organizations. You can, with every organization, you can find Alpha Delta Phi, the LA chapter, and WooFuse on Facebook. Stay tuned. We have a panel like this every semester, so stay tuned in for that next semester. And WooFuse even had some amazing programming, like thought-provoking, right there in the duck this afternoon. So keep tabs on them as well. As a token of our appreciation for these panelists, we have some nice chocolates, so I hope no one's allergic to chocolate. Don't have chocolates for all of you guys, unfortunately. But we have the space until 9 p.m., so if you want to stick around, I can't guarantee that any of the panelists can stick around, but if you want to stick around and continue these conversations, please go for it. Like I said, the space is here till 9 p.m., and everybody else said it, but I'll say it too. It really means a lot that so many people came out here tonight. It says a lot too about what people care about, and in keeping with that conversation we've been talking about, if you wrote anything on your note card, leave it on that back table. You can see there's a guy. Hey, Brian, will you raise your hand real quick? Chico? Yep. Just put your cards in a stack on that table, and we will have them, and we can do a lot with them. We can give them to the university, we can compile them and release them later. So like I said, don't let this be the end of the conversation. Actually, literally have a conversation afterwards, and give us those cards. Thanks everybody for coming out.